Hello everyone, long time no see. The weather recently has been really warm, and I hope that you have taken some time outdoors to enjoy the beautiful sunshine. The poem I'm bringing you today is called Moving House by Tao Yuanming. My old desire to live in the southern village was not because I had taken a fancy to the house, but I heard it was a place of simple-minded men with whom it were a joy to spend the mornings and evenings. Many years I had longed to settle here. Now at last I have managed to move house. I do not mind if my cottage is rather small, so long as there is room enough for bed and mat. Often and often the neighbors come to see me and with brave words discuss the things of old. Rare writings we read together and praise, doubtful meanings we examine together and settle. Pleasant weather is common in spring and autumn, when I would make new poems with friends after hiking. Greeting my neighbors when passing by their doors, drink some wine if they have some time to spare. Return if we have works in the fields. I miss my friends when I'm not busy. If I miss them, I would dress up and meet them. I never get tired with chatting and laughing with them. This kind of life is beyond ideal. Abandoning it makes no sense. I am determined to be self-sufficient, and the efforts spent in the field betray me not. Now the original Chinese text. 移居二首。西域居南村，非为补其宅。闻多素心人，乐语数称兮。怀此颇有年，今日从兹异。壁炉何必广，曲足必床席。邻居时时来，抗言谈在昔。奇文共欣赏，一意相与兮。春秋多佳日，登高赋新诗。过门更相呼，有酒斟酌之。浓雾各自归，闲暇辄相思。相思则披衣，言笑无厌时。此理将不胜，无为乎去兹。衣食当须记，力耕不无期。This poem is about a home-moving experience in Tao Yuanming's life that took place when the poet was around 45 to 46 years old. It happened after an unfortunate fire that destroyed the old house 2 years ago, which forced his family to live on a boat temporarily until he finally settled down in this cottage somewhere far away. Considering the background of this poem, this moving experience was not entirely pleasant, but he didn't mention at all the sorrow of losing the old home or this disastrous experience. Instead, he began the poem with his philosophy of choosing an ideal place to live. He said that my old desire to live in the southern village was not because I had taken a fancy to the house, but I heard it was a place of simple-minded men with whom it were a joy to spend the mornings and evenings. This is consistent with his desire to find a heaven on earth where he does not have to deal with people exploiting each other. The simplicity of a country-style life is what he desires, and people is the essence of this kind of lifestyle. He goes on to say, I do not mind if my cottage is rather small, so long as there is room enough for bed and mat. Naturally, if Tao Yuanming was a person who takes material desires seriously, he would have shown complaints about this kind of conditions. But the fact that he didn't mention if his house was too small is exactly why he could enjoy this simplistic lifestyle that allowed him to make friends with his farmer neighbors. Following this, the poem goes on to describe this ideal lifestyle that makes me jealous. He seemed to have found his soulmates and friends with whom he could talk about history and poetry with, They would do some hiking and drink wine together on the top of a hill, but it was also not a binding relationship. It was not a confinement to each other. In Chinese, an ideal way of interpersonal relationship is described as 君子之交淡如水, or the friendship between gentlemen is as light as water.This sentence is from the book of Zhuangzi, meaning that the friendship between people with high morals should be based on common pursuits, but not too close or forced on each other. If they have work to do, then they simply say hello to each other and then move on with their own lives. If they have time, then they would have some chats together.What a blessing to introvert people. It might seem abrupt when at the end of the poem, the poet suddenly mentions being self-sufficient. I am determined to be self-sufficient, but the efforts spent in the field betray me not. But probably he's not only suggesting this materialistic sense of being sufficient, but also the spiritual sense of it, which means that a person can find comfort and joy in making friends and socializing with people who have similar interests and mindset, but at the same time he's mentally self-sufficient and can maintain his morals and joy in life with being comfortable with himself.This is a noble spiritual pursuit and is consistent with the Zen Buddhism's message of vipassana or internal insights. Tao Yuanming didn't develop further on this, but personally I believe it's an interesting point for further thinking. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you enjoy this poem as much as I do, and I'll see you next time.